celebrating the newest Sacramento Kings writer for SI.com, our very own Will Z. Will,
thank you.
Will Z. Moving on up.
Little old Will Z and his stats writing for Sports Illustrated.
To the east side.
Just continuing to be a little dream come true with, again, thanks to you guys, Damien. You got me started with all this. So just happy to be continuing the journey and trying to stay humble and just appreciate the little things. But this is a fun one.
Bro, you're a writer for SI.com, Will. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. It is amazing, man. It is amazing. And just as you, however you can, however you want to, just tell us how it went down, man. Like that's major. SI just hitting your DMs like, hey, you want to work with us? Like how that all go down?
Yeah, so actually I heard from Al and Cal on Twitter. He writes for them as well, and he reached out, let me know that they were looking for more writers. They're trying to push for more specific team page coverage. So they wanted someone who's a fan and kind of knows the team. So he got me in touch with the editor, talked to him. He already kind of knew who I was. So, and it went pretty quick, and I'm on board now and talked with the publisher. He gave me the go ahead, and we're off and running.
There we go.
And Will Z out here with Kenny Caraway money now. Boy, what a moment.
What
a moment.
Maybe one of these days I'll get to that point. It's a high bar.
It is for all of us.
Look, Charlie dropped off the green spot whiskey for us.
Well, be careful. Charlie will drop off a bottle of liquor that will.
I'm definitely going to be careful with this. Definitely going to be careful with this. But only Will Z and Damien can get the red version. Red version. It's the red.
I don't even know.
It's the red spot. Don't you know what it is. Don't even worry about it. Those who are on the stream, they know what time it is, man. And they agree that you would get the red version.
No one even knows what you're talking about. Like,
look in the chat, they'll agree. They know what time.
Though it does look like Will has some bottles stashed behind him.
Yeah,
I can't quite. That is top shelf. Oh yeah.
There's not much. The Angels Envy, that one on the far side is actually from Kentucky. Hannah went to the Derby a few years ago and brought that one back. So that's probably my best bottle up there, but pretty simple stuff. And then the two on the champagne is empty. That was our engagement champagne. Hannah's parents have a winery, and her dad threw a special label on that one. It's a picture of us, but I keep it simple here.
I did the show with a lot of empty bottles behind me for a very, very long time.
Yeah, I should have just kept it a secret.
Yeah, no, well, eventually we break kayfabe on everything. We're telling all of the stories on the 1,000th episode.
1,000th episode coming up.
1,000th episode of D'Lo and Casey, just about a month away, August 21st. We'll let you know how you can be a part of that as the days roll along.
That's another. I mean, it's not the exact day, but that's another celebration. I'm just saying.
Yeah, for 4 years of D'Lo and Casey and 1 year of D'Lo and Casey on KSFM.
Hey, what I'm talking about.
It's awesome.
It's close enough.
Will Z with us, and of course, Will couldn't wait to start writing as he announced he joined SI and immediately cranked out 2 articles.
I had one ready to go.
Let's get them page views up, man.
Yeah.
Let's make sure everyone sees Will's content. Let's start with the article that I believed you talked with our friend Matt George about, and that is the pairing of Domantas Sabonis and DeMar DeRozan. You called it a perfect match. Obviously, that's not a take on your part. Your game is numbers. What did you dive into that sparked this thought?
Yeah, I wanted to look into it. I felt like everyone was talking about DeRozan and Fox when the trade happened because they are like the dynamic pair on the team now. But when you look at Sabonis and DeRozan, I think the two of them have games that will complement each other just so well. And one of the things that I wanted to do was look at the big men that DeRozan has played with. He's played for 15 seasons. and he's been on some really good teams. So Fox, I think Sabonis is pretty clearly the best the center that he's ever played with. When Sabonis got traded to the Kings, that was pretty clear. But I don't know if that's the case for DeRozan. So looking at who he's played with in terms of centers, we've got Chris Bosh, Serge Ibaka, Jonas Valanciunas, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Nikola Vucevic. So a lot of very talented big men, but no one that plays like Sabonis. Sabonis last year, 8.2 assists per game. The most assists that DeRozan has played with was last year Vucevic with 3.3. So he's never played with someone with the style of Sabonis. So I'm really intrigued to see how those two pair together. And I think that it's going to be great. Some numbers that kind of stood out to me: DeRozan ranked in the 87.3rd percentile for the cut play type, 92.2nd percentile for the handoff play type, both plays that the Kings like to run a lot. And then Sabonis led the league with 6.0 screen assists and 14.1 screen assist points created per game. So Sabonis has all of the peripheral stats to back up what DeRozan does well. And I think seeing them operate out of that high post is just going to be super electric, and just something that I don't think has gotten enough coverage.
I'm sitting there thinking about, is Sabonis, is he better than Aldridge? I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't know though. It's the games are different, like you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
But Aldridge at one point
so
was
good.
he was so good. He was like the prize free agent in the NBA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody was trying to bring him in for meetings and all this other stuff. I wonder if Sabonis would ever be the apple of the league's eye that way if he was a free agent. I don't know. Luckily, we probably won't ever know because the Kings are going to have him through most of his prime, so it won't be an issue. But that's a good way to look at it. I remember I watched an interview that Mike Brown had done during one of the summer league games, and he talked about how he didn't realize how much DHO action DeRozan was used to, and now being able to do that with somebody like Domantas Sabonis, he's like, you're going to fit right in. Like, this is going to be great for you. Did some of your numbers kind of show the same things about he did a lot more DHO than people realize, maybe?
Yeah, I think so. And in terms of, I think he worked so well with Vucevic, where the other number that kind of backs that up, DeRozan, 95 of his assists went to Vucevic. That was the most on the team. For the Bulls, second 71 to Kobe White, and then 49 to Ayo Dosunmu. And so you see that kind of connection with the big is already established, I think, both in the pick and roll. DeRozan has a ton of pick and roll play types per game, too. I don't have the number right in front of me, but that one stood out a lot. And then I was surprised at how effective he was in the DHO, at least by the numbers, because I don't remember Chicago running that play type a lot, but I didn't watch a ton of their games. Really just when they played the Kings. So I think more than we realized. And he just comes in with that comfortability.
Nailed it.
Got there. And Vucevic is good. I just think Sabonis is a little bit better in that role. It feels like three similar types of players: Jokic, Sabonis, and Vucevic, where you have one tier, like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And so to kind of have him be able to upgrade that a little different of a game, but similar styles, to upgrade from Vucevic to Sabonis, I'm really intrigued to see how that elevates his game and maybe gets him some easier shots and looks. I know Mike Brown's talked about getting him his efficiency going up in the Kings offense.
Given all of that, it feels like the way you laid all of that out, Willsy, that maybe the acclimation of DeMar DeRozan into this Sacramento Kings offense and the Kings offense and their acclimation into DeMar DeRozan, it doesn't sound like it's going to be that difficult.
I don't think so. He's such a high IQ player where he's been playing for so long and in so many different offenses with multiple teams that he's just probably going to go out there and ball. He'll fit in. It might take a little bit of adjusting, but
But some
Like
of the
he's
concepts
so.
are the same, like
Mhm,
you talk about the DHOs and different things like that. That's something that obviously Domas did here a lot with a
mhm.
player we're going to talk about here in a second.
Yeah, and I think leaning into the pick and roll a little bit more with DeRozan being so good in that aspect, I think we saw more pick and rolls last year than the year before for the Kings, especially with Monk and Sabonis. They were so good in that aspect that I think maybe we'll see the Kings shift a little bit more to play into DeRozan's strengths. But it's one of the things I'm really excited to see what their offense looks like with adding a player of his caliber.
I'm just stuck on like what you kind of started this off with, like has DeRozan playing with other great players, right? And
Hmm.
now I'm like, has he played with somebody as good as De'Aaron Fox? Obviously, we got Kyle Lowry.
Hmm.
Kyle is Fox is better than Lowry kind of ever was,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I think so.
Hmm.
So then you talk about LaMarcus Aldridge. That's another one. But I mean, man, is Fox better now than LaMarcus Aldridge heights? It's hard to say because LaMarcus Aldridge is this multiple time All Star and All NBA
Hmm.
guy and stuff like that. But I don't know. I mean, there's an argument to be made that Zach LaVine is on that list as well. But there's an argument to be made that this is the best teammate DeMar
Mhm.
DeRozan has ever played with when you talk
Hmm.
about De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with the way their games complement each other. I think they're like this whole conversation started with Sabonis and DeRozan, but like let's not forget DeRozan and Fox are like I love the combination of their games too, especially with Fox kind of taking more threes last year to even out DeRozan not taking as many threes. Like I
Mhm.
like that a lot.
Well, he's talking about taking threes. Let's transition to your debut article over there on SI, as this is Will Z, writer for SI. We have to pay Will now to come on. I can't even text Will anymore. Like, hey, you want to come on the show? I have to text Will's
Yeah.
assistant. Then Will's assistant will let us know. All right, I
Well,
guess you're cute little radio show. We'll see if we could do something
or
for
we
you.
got no.
No.
I was gonna say something else. What were you gonna say? I'll just leave it. Go ahead, ask your question.
Oh, they've already asked. I know what you're looking for. No, they already asked. Will,
Oh
no,
no,
they
it's
already
just
asked. Will with us. Will with us. They've already asked. And we've told Will he can do whatever makes him happy.
whatever you got to
And
do, big
Will
dog.
was the one who was like, nah, that'd be weird.
Yeah, I love you guys. I can't. Come on.
This is crazy, boy. It's crazy.
Kevin Herter.
Yeah.
Kevin Herter he's an interesting subject of conversation right now because
Hmm.
he's still a member of the Sacramento Kings. A lot of people didn't think he would be. I didn't think that he would be. And by the way, it doesn't mean he can't be traded. It doesn't mean there couldn't be more deals ahead. But your inaugural article was about Kevin Herter and how you expect to bounce back this
Mm.
season. Two things. I expect a bounce back as well. I think we might find something in between the last two seasons. But what makes you so confident that Kevin
Hmm.
Herter is probably closer to the guy we saw his first year in Sacramento rather than the second?
Yeah, just really looking at the numbers shows how odd last season was. So Kenny, hit it with your favorite, the wide open threes. If you look at his career wide open 3-point percentage, starting in 2018-19, 39.9%, then 43.5, a down year, 35.5, and then 42.4, 42.4, and then last year 34.2. So that's a
Mm,
really low number for
mm,
wide open threes, especially for someone from his caliber of a shooter. Like I'd be shocked if that number stays about the same, and he's going to get those wide open looks just because the Kings offense is so stacked that if he can go up to his career average in that even like high 30s, low 40s, then that's a huge improvement on its own. And what I liked too from last year is his 2-point percentage was still pretty high. It skyrocketed when he got traded to the Kings, 60.4% in his first year in Sacramento. Before that, his career high had been 53%. Last year, it dropped to 57, so still higher than all of his time in Atlanta, but not quite as high as the first season. But he showed he can still score in that kind of variety of ways. I think everyone labels him as just a 3-point shooter, but I see him as more than that, especially him and Sabonis in their little two-man game. He can get going inside. He doesn't do it a ton, but he's pretty effective inside the arc as well. So combining that increased or like maintained efficiency from 2 with a return to average, even if it's just on the wide open looks, would be huge for him and the Kings offense.
And you got to think that even if it is a reduced role, that I would think he's going to have more opportunities than he had, more of an ability to go up against maybe second team defenses and be able to have an opportunity to put up better numbers than he did. And like you said, that's before we even talk about wide open looks that he maybe get because he's playing with so many scores that draw so much attention pretty much at all times. You know what I mean? No disrespect, but there's not a Harrison Barnes to, sag off of or anything else like that. These are guys that demand a lot of attention offensively, and he can reap the benefits from that.
Yeah, the Kings need him to do is just, James always talks about how everyone slides back a role. Like if he's just a shooter, that's great. Like I think again, he's more than just that, but the Kings don't need him to do as much going forward. Which when you have a player of his caliber in that type of role, it's similar. I think Aaron Gordon he's better than his role on the Nuggets. And I think that's what elevates teams to championship teams. We see it with the Celtics. They have players who are probably better than their role on the team. Like their talent is over the role. And if the Kings can have these types of players who their talent is more than they're being asked to do, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that him and Sabonis, I always think that, I told you guys before, I was going to be so sad if Huerter was traded because I think him and Sabonis are perfect for each other. So having someone be able to come in off the bench, I assume, we'll see, I don't know, but having someone who can come in off the bench and light it up on any given night. And he's the type of player who, and when Huerter gets on a streak, he gets on a streak. Like he can carry a team on his own for like 10 games at a time.
Not no numbers, just asking for a writer's opinion. Who do you think starts at 2?
I still like Keon. I think I just like it because it balances everything out. The pairing, I like the pairing of Fox and Keon and the pairing of McLaughlin and Monk, because you have one defensive guy in each pair and one offensive guy in each pair. I think you can make it work with Monk if he wants to start. It's hard to say no at this point, where you just work more on the rotations. And I think that Mike Brown and the coaching staff could probably do that, where they even things out. But I just like it because you have a more balanced lineup kind of at all times that way. But again, it's hard to say no if Monk really wants it.
The scenario with the starting 2 guard is almost to the point, I think, where it's what would you do and what do you think is going to happen? Because there may be 2 different answers.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people who would start Keon, that's what they would do. I'm starting to feel like I think that might be 3rd. Like Keon starting
Keon. I was wondering that too.
I think Monk
stepped in and played some nice minutes for us while everyone was out. It's just lives rent free in my head. Just a nice little line from Monty McNair about Keon Ellis just lives in my head. Like that does not sound like he's describing his starting 2 guard.
I couldn't stop thinking about it after you said it last week.
And then he's playing all week long in summer league.
Yeah, I don't think it meant nothing, but it probably doesn't mean as much as I'm putting on it. But I just wish I had done the old Cheryl and Elk Grove and recorded the TV screen so you could hear it, because he wasn't like passive, it wasn't dismissive, it was just,
he meant it as a completely positive thing to say.
He did, but it was also, it just had a tone like, and we all know how Monty is, but it just felt like, yeah, I don't think he would describe De'Aaron Fox that way. I don't think he would describe Malik Monk that way. I don't even think he would describe Harrison Barnes that way.
Right.
I don't know. It's going to live rent free in my head. Shout out Bonte Hill until that first game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand anybody who says Keon, they would start Keon. I get it. When I think about it, in some ways, I definitely might start Keon myself. I just don't think he's going to.
Game 1, there's probably not a wrong answer. There won't be. Well, because there won't be a wrong answer until something goes wrong.
True.
So if game 1 gets here and, Keon is 0 for 3, if Keon's putting up KZ Okpala numbers and maybe the Kings lose, then it's like, why are we doing this again? and I'm with you. I'm starting to feel like he might be third in line because I just can't believe I don't know. I just can't believe you're going to be completely dismissive of Kevin Huerter.
But I just don't think he would start. I don't think
Huerter
would start. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you and leaning towards Malik. I'm just not writing off Kevin Huerter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Understand completely.
William, congratulations, man. We're really proud of you. We can't wait to see what happens next year. I mean, you're going to be on Casey's boy Chris Mannix's podcast any minute talking about
that's gonna be Will Z's boy.
Well, that will be Will Z's boy moving forward. We'll stop bad mouthing your coworkers.
Is there like a day we should look out for, Will Z articles, or is it just kind of right now in the offseason?
At this point, it's every damn day.
Yeah, I think my goal is like 4 a week or so. It's super free. Like I can write at whatever cadence I want, which is nice, and about whatever topics. So super great in that aspect. As long as I've got ideas, I'll write it. It's one of the things where I want to write good articles. I don't want to write articles just to write articles. So I don't know if I'll try and force it. But as long as I keep thinking of things that interest me, I'll find some numbers and throw some ideas.
Between us, just us, chat, I'd repurpose some of those articles you've written in the past.
Well,
I was wondering.
That could work too. It's a
bigger platform, buddy. You're in the pros now. Just I mean, you don't have to send them the same sheet. Just the premise.
Mm-hmm.
Add a little bit to it, and off it goes.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I was thinking about that too, and I mean, there's a little bit different audience between willzstats.com and si.com.
100%. So check out Will Z over at si.com, man. Super happy for you. Can't wait to watch this continue to grow. Will, we appreciate you as always, my friend.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Congrats, Will.